Welcome to 10, the Tenant Experience Network. I'm your host, David Abrams. In this episode, we are connecting with Marcie Williams, CEO of RKW Residential. In this episode, we learn about Marcie's career journey in CRE, where she started as a leasing consultant in multifamily, eventually turning her focus to operations, where she worked her way up the ranks to her current role as CEO. Marcie was actually encouraged to get into real estate while working as a bartender, and she has never looked back. Her natural confidence and comfort around people have contributed to her industry success. Marcie shares insights from her experience managing over 4,000 homes in planned communities and finding a work-life balance in the hybrid world. Creating community has become RKW's number one priority, with residents 70% more likely to renew if they connect with just 6 people in their communities. To achieve this goal, multifamily spaces are evolving to accommodate new use cases and provide more outdoor offerings. While Marcie is focused on meeting the new demands of her core business, she also prioritizes the changing needs of the corporate work environment through the introduction of new programs and activities that keep her team connected. I loved hearing about Marcie's hotel industry training program, inspired by the importance of adopting a hospitality approach in real estate. As Marcie describes, thinking about what people need entirely sums up her job. We're excited to share this episode with you, so be sure to subscribe to 10 so you never miss an episode of the Tenant Experience Network. And now I'd like to welcome Marcie to the show. I'm really glad you could be with us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to our conversation. And I'd love for you to start with maybe sharing your journey to your current position role. How did you get started in the business?
I started really with the basics of the business as a leasing consultant. I've been in the business over 30 years. So I've really just started with the basic, the core, worked my way up through the property level to a property manager, to a district manager, to a regional manager. I've been in a few different areas of the business, of the multifamily business, but operations is the core of the business. And that's where I do my best work in operations, and have been the CEO I've been with RKW for about 8 years now and been the CEO for about a year.
All right. Amazing. So often I hear about a dotted line to commercial real estate. And often people coming out of college having no idea that's the business they'd end up in. Now, did you start right away in the business, in the industry?
I really did. My degree is in journalism, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it. And I was doing, making my parents proud, just bartending, to be honest with you. And so I actually had somebody come into the bar. He was a regular, and he said, "You know what you'd be really good at is real estate." And it was just a suggestion, and I took it to heart and started my career, pretty much right out of college. And it was easy to me, to be honest with you, at the time. And that's what I always tell young people when they want to start their career, is do something that feels easy to you.
Right.
And leasing and apartments and multifamily felt easy to me.
Right. Felt natural. See, I had to probe a little bit, but there's always a little more of a story behind how you got into the business. It all started in a bar.
Exactly.
All right. So I guess it kind of connects to my next question is, why do you think you were so uniquely suited to this opportunity? What's helped you to become successful? Skills, mentors, colleagues, books? Well, it sounds like being in the bar at the right time is one factor. But you talked about it being easy, but maybe just share a little bit about why you think this opportunity was so right for you.
It's really a people business. So I don't think that's anything new or revolutionary that you haven't heard before, but I've always felt really comfortable with people, and I believed in what I was selling at the time. I mean, I was leasing apartments. I lived in that apartment community, and people would come in and they would say, "I don't know, let me think about it." And I just felt like, how could you not? You walked in, you said you wanted, a 2-bedroom overlooking the pool. I showed it to you. How could you not take it? So I have had I think it was really just a natural confidence, to be honest with you, and finding something that maybe bartending helped me, be natural with people. But I just have always been comfortable around people really since the day, I was born, and when I was in first grade, I used to go around and tell people, I know how to add and I know how to spell, I just was always like confident like that.
Right.
And I attribute that to my parents. But really it's just, I've had some great people, great managers. I've had great mentors in the industry that have
Mhm.
helped me. But I'll be honest with you, David, I've also been married almost 30 years. I've known my husband since we were 12. And
Right.
he's always been a great cheerleader for me and supported me. So, I mean, between family and, industry people, I've felt that I could be successful. And then also just really taking the core of, again, starting at the core of the business does give you confidence to be able to go to the next level.
Right.
And even when I was scared to go to the next level, I just did it because I knew that I'd be able to, if I could achieve, one area of the business, I felt confident I could achieve the next area. But I would do those things when I was scared, but still could move forward.
Right. I love that. And thanks for sharing both, sort of some of the personal side of
Yeah.
your journey as well as the more business side. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, of course.
Um, yeah, and I think the restaurant business, the service industry really prepares you for so many different kinds of businesses. And if you can sort of make it there, I think you can almost make it anywhere. I often will be quite friendly with people that I meet in restaurants. And I think to myself, if I was hiring, depending upon
Right.
that person, that's someone who I'd want to work with me, because often they're the first point of contact that, and they make such a difference to your
Mhm.
experience.
Mhm.
So I get that bartending experience really helped position perhaps for this opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the soft skills for sure, and then you have the hard skills of, running a property and running a business, as you learn through college and through your career. But you're right. A lot of people's success is based off of their personality, their
Yeah,
willingness to succeed, and their attitude.
for sure, for sure. There's a lot of commentary around the return to workplace, as well as the impact of the exodus from cities, from the perspective of where people lived during the pandemic. And there's some extreme opinions being expressed, often confrontational and polarizing. My team really believe that now is the time to live and work in the world as it is right now, that we can't keep projecting, to the future in terms of a date for the return to work, or perhaps for people returning to cities. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are, on this new normal. What does it mean for commercial real estate, and in particular, given your area of expertise, for multifamily residential buildings? What are you seeing? What are your thoughts?
Well, we certainly have seen, to your point, an exodus from the cities. Our company is in the Southeast, and I'm based in the Southeast. And so the Southeast has always been popular, and has always, people have enjoyed being here, not only for weather, for a great, way of life, just a better life overall.
Mm,
And people now, it's really expanded with people leaving the big cities and wanting to come into the Southeast, whether that's Charlotte or Atlanta, Greenville, South Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, down into Florida. But now what people really are looking for from a multifamily perspective is to be able to have that hybrid life of the work-life balance, and to be able to, if they're working from home, they want to be able to have a space that they can work from home. So the trends have been bigger, and that's why the build to rent. We manage about 4,000 homes in planned communities. So these are purposeful built homes in the communities,
right.
and so people are gravitating towards that for bigger space. But at the same time, people are also thriving for a sense of community now that
Right.
people want to get back together. So us as a management company coordinating and planning those events to keep the residents connected is really important. I mean, people are more sick. If at least 6 people within your building or community, you're more likely to renew. You're about 70% more likely to renew. Now that we were so isolated, being connected now more than ever is so important. So really, we focused on the sense of community, but also people are changing because they want choices. I mean, in the workspace, they want the ability to come to work or not come to work. And, so we've really adopted, and if you work at a community, you do need to be at that community to take care and serve the residents. But from a corporate perspective, what people want has really just evolved. I mean, we started out with, you always came into the office. Then
Right.
it was a hybrid that you could be hybrid once you've been with us for a year. About 2 weeks later, we changed that policy. Everyone could be hybrid. And even as of last week, we're continuing to evolve that policy as the wants and needs of our team members are changing.
Right. I think that office buildings are becoming more home-like, and I think multifamily buildings are becoming more office-like. So are you looking at new spaces or changing the use of spaces in your buildings? So from the multifamily perspective, are you creating, more meeting rooms or, podcast recording studios?
Sure.
We're starting to hear that and see that. So I'm just curious what impact that's having on your business.
Definitely, we're evolving to at the multifamily space. It used to be more, not so much collaborative zones, but really more, it might be a conference room.
Right.
Now we've expanded that to have individual spaces, the Zoom rooms, and to have the collaboration spaces, and then to have the coffee along with it. So creating a Starbucks-like environment along with, you can go into the Zoom room, but we're also creating at the communities, the indoor outdoor spaces, especially in the Southeast where you can enjoy the weather many more days of the year. People want to be able to sit outside, get a little bit of sun, get fresh air and work. And then if they need to come inside into a Zoom room or into a collaboration place inside, they can. So from a multifamily space, the work from home and what we're creating is definitely expanding. And also pets.
Right.
People want to have their pets beside them at all times. A lot of people got their pets during the pandemic, and their pets were used to sitting right beside them. So from the multifamily space, that's definitely what we're working towards. But on the office side for our team members, to your point, they want a more home environment. We've added couches, we've added snacks, we've added purposeful gatherings, whether that's to celebrations or, hey, let's get together and go to a park or go to the movies or anything like that to keep us connected has been really important as well.
Right. That's fascinating. Sort of what you're having to do at a corporate level, is what you're having to do for your customers, your core business. So, and I love the fact that you're thinking about both sides of that and adapting and changing. So how often, I'm just curious, how often are your people sort of looking for those opportunities, your team, in terms of coming together and not just being, working remotely?
So we definitely, right now, our hybrid schedule is 3 days in, 2 days out, and it can be dictated by the individual departments if they have to come in a certain day. But the gatherings are minimum, monthly, where we celebrate the month's birthdays and anniversaries. But we also have, spontaneous get-togethers, a celebration. We have a bar cart, or we've got some place where we can just roll out a cart, order a pizza and celebrate. That's a couple of times a month. Right. And then we also, anything to summer fun days. Again, we go to I'll tell you, in our office, we had, when Top Gun Maverick came out, I was looking forward to it. So we closed our corporate office. We all went to go eat tacos, and then we all went to movies. We went in the middle of the day, and it was like, we had so much fun doing that. And then some of our other corporate offices, they went to Top Golf, and then some others went go-kart racing. So every office has a personality. Right. And so it was just, let's do this fun thing and get together. Now, we also have, lastly, we do have a big annual event when our entire company gets together. And we train our teams through Ritz-Carlton training to take care of our residents and each other. And then we also have just a flat out fun day where everyone's bowling, and, playing golf and, playing pool and having a fun time, where all the teams can get together, collectively.
Right. Well, first of all, two things. I love that you're pulling from the hospitality industry. That
Mhm.
is very telling. I actually think that the office industry should be doing more staff training also from, the hotel industry.
Yeah.
I think there's just so much to be learned. And the reality is that I think just like, hotels that have to earn their customer each and every day, I think the multifamily sector and the office sector really have to do the same.
Mhm.
The second thing is, don't be surprised if you see my resume hit your inbox, because it sounds like a really great place to work. So
Awesome.
we may chat again about that. The pandemic has certainly recalibrated the market. People recognize that buildings are really places for people. These buildings weren't much of an asset, particularly office buildings weren't much of an asset when people weren't in them.
Right.
But I think as a result, tenant experience and resident experience is fast becoming the new differentiator, and is helping to drive real estate decisions far more than those old historical determinants such as location and class. People are thinking about not just the physicality of their real estate, but what experience are they offered there. So I'm just curious what you think will truly define great customer experience, great resident experience now and in the future.
It's really technology, to be honest with you, and giving the residents and tenants in the buildings choices as to
Mhm.
how they want to live and work. The hospitality training, I always think about like retail as well. If I want to shop for something, I have the option of going into the store and getting it, or
Right.
ordering it online. From a tenant and from a resident perspective, we should be able to provide that exact same experience. From a resident, if a resident wants to come, a prospect wants to come tour one of our buildings, we're using technology to let them do schedule an appointment on their own,
Right.
have a self-guided tour without somebody present. They can do a video tour, we can do a FaceTime tour, or they can come in and we can walk
Right.
them through and show them. So we have to be able to give them choices. And then once they are a resident with us, it's that they can live the same way. They can come in and pay us with the check. They can pay their rent online, they can call us. It's all that, to me, is really where everything is headed, and giving our residents more choices at the same time providing them the experience and hospitality and taking care of them. This is the biggest check or biggest expense from a
Right.
resident standpoint. And so
Right.
we have to be able to provide and take care of them. But from like a tenant perspective at an office building, it's really the same thing. I mean, there's typical office hours. The management is only available during certain times, but our work time has become a lot more flexible. Even as something as simple as, when do we need the air conditioning? It shouldn't be like dictated. It needs to be flexible for what we want to do and when we want to do. And then attracting the talent. Location, you mentioned, is always so important, but the gatherings in the building, whether we can work out in the building, whether we can have a coffee in the building, all of and or close by, is so important for us to be able to attract and retain talent.
Right. Sounds like you're trying to meet your customer where they are, and
Yeah.
and understand their needs and how they want to operate and how they want to engage with you. And to your point, there's no one solution. It's not like we can only do it through technology, or we can only do it with a personal experience. You're giving them the flexibility to choose what's right for them.
Right. It is always thinking about, David, what the people need. That's like my whole job. you
Right.
know, my
Right.
whole job is, my first job is to make sure our, organization is here in the future. And how we do that is to give people, the choices and flexibility for what they want. So it makes it easy for them to live at our communities, not a task.
Right. I interviewed Michael Beckerman from CRE Tech or CRE Tech last
Mhm.
week, and he spoke a lot about the need to truly now understand the customer's needs and wants. That we've really shifted from the old mentality of build it and they will come, to really being a customer focused industry,
Sure.
and not in tune and listening to what the customer needs. You're going to have challenges long term, right?
100%. And I will tell you, we deal with a broad range of demographics as well.
Right.
We operate in 7 states. Every community has its own personality and demographic base, but at the same time, everybody wants to be valued and taken care of. So that policy, that we have, and our training, that applies to everybody across the board.
Amazing. Let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
This episode of 10 is proudly brought to you by Hilo. Hilo is a rapid deployment workplace engagement platform for the hybrid world that enables building operators to connect to their tenants, whether they are at work, at home, or anywhere in between. We are in the midst of a seismic shift in the evolution of the workplace. Now more than ever, it's clear that the most important asset of a building is the people. Commercial real estate leaders recognize that tenants and employees want new kinds of spaces, services, and amenities to support having the flexibility to work from anywhere. Workplace engagement solutions that connect hybrid working people to buildings no matter where they are have become a major differentiator as buildings compete to retain current tenants and attract new ones. Hilo empowers building operators to meet this challenge. To learn more about Hilo and schedule a demo, visit hiloapp.com.
We are back with Marcie Williams, CEO of RKW Residential. I'm so glad you could be with us today, and I'm really enjoying our conversation.
I am as well.
All right. Listen, the tough question. Living through a pandemic has been really challenging for so many people. And I don't think that, I always think about that because that is the reality. However, it does present an opportunity for us to now be better, do better, and build something better. COVID can no longer be an excuse. And sadly, we're still seeing that. So I'm just curious from your perspective, can you share any details about your business or some part of your business that is now being reimagined to reflect the reality of where we are today?
I will tell you, when the pandemic first hit, one of the very first things that I did was send out communication to all of our team members about being empathetic. We had residents for the first time that couldn't pay their rent. And as we've evolved, we've always been an empathetic, and hospitality driven company, but at the same time, a lot of our policies have continued to evolve around the resident experience. Right. And really, to your point, we did create new policies and procedures as it related to COVID and our cleaning procedures and things like that. And some of that has subsided, but some of those policies have really remained the same. Right. Same thing with hybrid. We've actually changed some of our policies. We added an employee assistance program for mental health. We started our insurance, allowed our employees to be able to have insurance on day one rather than having a waiting period, combining our PTO and a holiday or vacation policies together. So trying to make, again, flexibility and choices is really how we have continued to evolve throughout the pandemic. And it's not, there was not like this stopping point to say, okay, we're done and now we're going to go back. It is continually evolving to make residents and our employees' lives better. Right.
And perhaps that's one of the outcomes is just the need to be flexible, nimble, respond to changing circumstances. I think we all had to respond so quickly to the the onset of the pandemic. That sort of put the need for being flexible and creative in hyper mode. And maybe that's now a skill, sort of a reflex that we're going to now be able to utilize continuously, right? It never stops.
100%.
Awesome. Our closing speed round, an opportunity to get to know Marcy a little bit better on a personal level. Can you share one way in which the pandemic has changed your outlook on life?
I chilled out a little bit. I have always been driven by rules and policies, and I still believe in those, but the flexibility, I think I've become more flexible for our team members, and, that should hopefully get better for all of our employees.
Right. Cool. What travel destination do you miss most?
Well, I travel locally, like if I go to the beach or the mountains. So I still was able to enjoy that during the pandemic. It was really the spontaneity of being able just to pick up and go is really what I've missed most. You had to plan and then you had to cancel and be prepared to cancel if someone had COVID. Do I have enough masks? Do I have enough hand sanitizer? So that part I don't miss. I actually was just traveled. I was last week and I was like, I'm so happy I don't have to wear a mask, so that part I don't miss. But the travel, the spontaneous travel, I miss the most.
Yeah, totally get that. It is a lot to think about and a lot to plan. And of course, the one thing we've learned is that you can't plan. So
Right.
you have to be prepared for always plans to change.
Right.
Anything new on your bucket list that you'd like to experience?
Well, I'm actually going to Europe in October. I think I mentioned I've been married for 30 years, and my husband and I are celebrating our 30th anniversary. I've never
Congratulations.
been to London, I've never been to Paris, and I've never been to Dublin. And we are going to those three places.
Wow.
But my ultimate bucket list was I wanted to be, in Paris on the actual day of our anniversary,
Great.
and that is scheduled to come true in October.
I love it. That's wonderful. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
a significant milestone and something to be definitely proud of. So good for you.
Thank you.
What's your favorite technology that is new to your life?
I don't really have a new technology that I've really embraced. It's really just utilizing the technology that I've always relied on. I do always have my iPhone, my iPad, and my Apple Watch. So I do rely on those a lot. So I'm not a pen and paper type of a person, and I do rely on the technology that I've always, been using for the past few years.
Right. Amazing. And what is your personal choice for days spent in person with your colleagues versus working from anywhere?
I love working with my colleagues. I love collaboration. I come in the office. I do, of course, have the ability to work remote, but I do come in the office when I'm not traveling for work. So my preference is to be with my team, spontaneous collaboration, and just help them grow and work together.
Amazing. Marcy, thank you so much for coming on the program today. And I really enjoyed our conversation. I love the area of expertise that you were able to bring to this discussion, being an expert in multifamily. It is interesting to see how the world of office and multifamily continue to blur in so many ways, and a lot to be learned from those two industries, as well as the hospitality industry, which you spoke about. So it's great to get the different perspectives and for our listeners to be exposed to this type of learning. So thank you very much for joining us. I look forward to continuing the conversation, wishing you continued success and a very happy anniversary.
Thanks, David.
All right, take care. I want to thank Marcie Williams for joining me on this episode of 10 and for contributing to the global conversation around buildings being part of a robust ecosystem that can help to build great companies, and that they are vital in the effort to cultivate and support great people and teams. The future of the workplace will likely take many forms, and we will continue to explore what that looks like together. Subscribe to 10 for more conversations with leading CRE industry professionals and experts who all have something to say about tenant experience and the future of the workplace. We love hearing from you, so if you enjoyed this episode of 10, please share, add your rating, and review us through your preferred podcast provider. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on a future episode, please reach out to me directly at david@hiloapp.com. And until our next episode, I wish you all continued success in building community where you work and live. Thank you.